You know, when we think of whales, we usually picture their incredible size, right? Or maybe we think of those haunting songs, or that perfect moment when a giant tail disappears into the ocean. But what if I told you there's a whole other story? A story that connects these amazing animals directly to the very air we breathe and the stability of our entire planet. We're about to dive into how whales are so much more than just ocean dwellers, they're actually guardians of our climate.
And hey, it's easy to be captivated by them. I mean, they're some of the biggest, smartest animals that have ever lived. But their true importance, it goes so much deeper than just their beauty. We're about to uncover a value that lies way, way beneath the surface.
Engineers of the ocean. Just let that sink in for a second. That means they don't just live in the ocean, they actively build and shape it. They're constantly working to keep it healthy and in a way that supports literally all life on Earth, including us. Now, to really get why these ocean engineers are so critical, we have to first take a look at the huge problem their home is facing. A problem that, affects every single one of us. So here's the deal. The science is really clear on this. Our activities are changing the climate, and our oceans are right on the front lines. They're soaking up a ton of heat, which makes the water warmer. They're also absorbing more CO2, which makes them more acidic. That's terrible for marine life. And of course, we're all seeing the results on land, with sea levels creeping up and storms getting stronger. The whole system is just under a massive amount of stress. And this is where the story takes a really hopeful turn. Because it turns out that inside this threatened system, we have this powerful natural ally. Whales aren't just victims of all this change, they're actually a living, breathing part of the solution. So how in the world do they do it? Well, first off, it's something called carbon capture. Just picture a whale's body like a giant swimming forest. Over its super long life, it collects tons and tons of carbon. Then, when it eventually dies, its body sinks to the bottom of the ocean, taking all of that carbon with it. It basically becomes a natural carbon vault, locking it away for hundreds of years so it can't get back into the atmosphere. But believe it or not, the story gets even cooler. To get the next part, you have to meet these tiny, unsung heroes of our planet, phytoplankton. These are microscopic plants, okay? But their impact, it's absolutely enormous. They float near the surface, they suck up carbon dioxide, and pretty much everything in the ocean eats them. They're crucial. And this is where it all connects, in this incredible process that scientists call the whale pump. So whales dive deep down to feed where all the nutrients are, but they have to come up to the surface to breathe. And when they do, well, they release these huge plumes of waste. And that waste is like the world's best fertilizer, sparking these massive blooms of the phytoplankton we were just talking about. That's the engineer at work, right there. So why should you care about a bunch of tiny ocean plants? Well, do me a favor. Take a deep breath. Seriously, right now. Okay, now take another one. About half of the oxygen in that breath, 50%, was made by those phytoplankton. By fertilizing them, whales are directly helping to create the very air that keeps all of us alive. The connection is just wow. And when you start to think about the big picture, the numbers are just staggering. Scientists figure that if we could get whale populations back to what they used to be, it would cause enough new phytoplankton growth to capture hundreds of millions of extra tons of CO2 every single year. That is a climate solution powered by nature on a massive global scale. And here's the heartbreaking twist in this story. The very creatures that are so vital to the health of our planet are themselves fighting to survive. To make this really hit home, let's just focus on one species, the North Atlantic right whale. Their story is just a tragic example of what these animals are up against. After being hunted for centuries, their fight is still very far from over. Fewer than 400. That's not some old number from a history book. That's today, right now. With a population that small, they are teetering right on the absolute edge of extinction. Every single loss pushes them one step closer to being gone forever. And the dangers they face today are constant, and they're caused by us. They get hit by giant ships, they get tangled up in fishing gear, which can lead to a really slow and awful death, and the constant underwater noise from our activities messes up their ability to talk to each other and find their way. So all of this brings us to the final and honestly the most crucial point of this whole explainer. This isn't just about saving a beautiful animal. It's about finally recognizing that our fate and their fate are completely intertwined. Look, it really is this simple.
Protecting whales is a direct investment in protecting ourselves. Every single whale we save continues its job as an ocean engineer. It keeps helping to maintain the planet's life support systems, the systems that give us a stable climate, and yes, the oxygen we need to breathe.
And the good news in all of this is that we actually know what to do. The solutions are right there. We can create safer oceans for them. We can put rules in place to prevent ships from hitting them. We can come up with better ways to fish that don't entangle them. And we can work to make the oceans a quieter, safer place for our most important climate allies.
So we end up right back where we started. We've seen just how much we depend on these quiet guardians for a healthy planet. The question really isn't what they can do for us anymore, it's what do we owe them in return?